Today on the LA Food Podcast, I'm Lucas Servodio, and we've got the daddy of all episodes for you today. I'm joined by Kyle Davidson, the founder, the business owner, the creative genius behind Dough Daddy, one of LA's premier Detroit-style pizza destinations. Kyle joins us for what I think is a truly fascinating conversation on what it was like to have his whole life change overnight during the pandemic and then having to find your way out through pizza. It's a really, really wide-ranging conversation on resilience during tough times, on finding success practically overnight, and on navigating the ups and downs of being a business owner, not just financially, but also from a mental health standpoint. I really enjoyed talking to Kyle. I learned a lot, and I think you're going to enjoy it too. So without further ado, let's chow down. Today, we're joined by the Detroit-style pizza guru behind one of LA's best purveyors of the form, Dough Daddy. It's Kyle Davidson. Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing, Luca?
I'm good. So, be honest, did you ever consider naming your business Dough Zaddy?
No, I didn't. But maybe I should have. The name wasn't even really a planned name. It was kind of an accident from a joke I made on Instagram, and when it came time to give it a name, I was like, I think this is the name. So, but I didn't even have time to think about something like Zaddy. So
Yeah. Well,
maybe version 2.
Maybe version 2 or the spin-off.
Mm-hmm.
The second location one day.
Right, or like a thin crust version.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. So, look, a lot of people know Dough Daddy and know you as the guy associated with Dough Daddy and associated with pizza in general. But I'd like to know who the real Kyle is first. Are you from the Midwest?
No, it's very funny. I get asked that question a lot, and I always feel bad answering it, because especially when it's like, it's people that are from like Michigan, and they're like, "Oh, what part?" Or they like do the thing where they like hold up their hand, to like tell you which part of the state they're from, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
San Diego, Michigan. So,
That's
no, not from the Midwest.
that's my favorite part of Michigan.
Yeah, right? The weather's
San
great
Diego,
there.
yeah.
It's totally different than the rest of the state.
Yeah, it's a real anomaly. So you grew up in San Diego.
Grew up in San Diego. Yeah, spent the first 20 something years of my life there, and then headed up to LA in like my early to mid 20s.
Were you always a food guy, or did you grow up loving food?
No. I mean, I grew up loving food, but it's also funny because I'm like, when I say loving food, like I many of my friends describe me of having a palate as like that of an 8-year-old. Like
Yeah.
I like really mostly really simple food, but done really, really well. But yeah, no, I'd never done anything like this. Like I cooked at home and things like that, but not like extensively. So
Yeah.
this was very new for me.
So what kind of foods did you grow up eating as a 8-year-old that kind of
Oh
stayed
my
8?
gosh. Yeah, as a kid, I was really bad. Like it was like I didn't even like, this is one that always gets people. I did not even like pizza sauce when I was a
Wait.
kid.
Well, I can understand that. I feel like a lot of pizza sauce has a lot of gunk in it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I was onto something, but I think I was just like really, I don't know. There was something about it. So like I would literally take pizza and get it, and then I would like peel off the layer of like the cheese and pepperoni and then scrape off the sauce and then put this back on. Like
Wow.
this is like the
All
worst
right.
advertising for my business I could do right now, but I've changed. I've changed.
I mean, honestly, when you describe it that way, that's some OCD serial killer level shit right there.
It's pretty. It's like I'm maybe I'm like, maybe we should edit that out. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's
It
good.
sounds
Look,
so much
man.
worse when I say it out loud.
Yeah, no, look, you've grown. You've grown since then, and people appreciate growth. So, what brought you to LA from San Diego?
Work actually. So at the time, I was working in logistics for a company that did like ground operations for cruise lines. And
Hmm.
so obviously Port of LA, big port for cruises. And so I got a job with another company doing the same thing. They were a Canadian based company, and they asked me to um, open up their first US office here. So I started that with them, and that's what had me move to Long Beach. Actually, that's where I was first for a couple years.
I love Long Beach. Underrated food scene, in my opinion.
Real, especially since I've been there. I mean, there were a few good spots down there when I was there, but that was like, 15 years ago. And now, yeah, I mean, it's really grown, and there's a lot of great spots in Long
Yeah.
Beach.
Yeah, good pizza too, but no
Hmm.
Detroit style, I don't think.
I don't think so either. I think it's one of the few places now in the greater Los Angeles area that doesn't have a Detroit style pizza place.
Yeah. Which, yeah, hey, maybe we'll change that. But so you moved here working in logistics. What
Hmm.
was when did that change? When did you go from logistics to GoDaddy? Was it overnight? Was that the transition?
Pretty much overnight. Yeah. So a few jobs later, was working for a car service company. They're based in Boston, executive transportation company, and lots of stuff for movie studios and things like that. And I was
Mm-hmm.
running their California operations for them. And so yeah, that was all the way up through March 2020, and then it's been a few years, but I think we can all remember what happened. So
Wait, so you were
yeah,
you were working at that company up until March 2020?
correct.
Yeah,
Yes, correct.
and then basically the world started to collapse on itself. And was it what were you let go, or was it more of you realized you want to do something different at that point?
I wish I could say that I realized I wanted to do something different at that point, but no, it was kind of an interesting journey because obviously, the company was, very quickly having to shut down, operations and everything because there was, no one was traveling, obviously.
Yeah.
And then, but they were planning on keeping a small core of their leadership team on. And so like I got on a call like a week earlier, and they were like, everybody who's here is staying. And I was like, phew, like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I can
Mm-hmm.
relax. And of course, at that time, we all thought like, or we were all being told at least like, hey, we'll see, see you in a few weeks, see you in a month, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like it was, so it was one of those things where it was like, okay, well, even if I'm getting like laid off now, maybe I, won't be laid off for a super long time, even if it's, 3 months, 4 months, whatever, they'll bring me
Yeah,
back.
we all quickly learned what the word furlough means. We added that
Yeah,
to our
we
vocabulary.
did, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't know that one very well. So yeah, so that changed a week later. I got a call from my boss in the middle of the day. I guess I should back up slightly. This is one of those stories that I think when I tell it, people think I'm making it up, but I swear this is how it happened.
Uh-huh.
Um, I I had just wanted to make Detroit style pizza for my friends because there was I mean, if I recall correctly, other than maybe a pop up, that I don't think there was any permanent location serving Detroit style pizza in LA at that point in time.
Dude,
Maybe D
I don't have
Town, but I don't know that D Town was permanent at that point in time.
I
They were
have
definitely like one of the
family
first though.
I have family in Detroit, and I didn't even know that Detroit style pizza was a thing. How did you even come to learn of Detroit style pizza?
Yeah, I guess we back up the story slightly more. Yeah, I so funny enough, I went to Tony's Pizza Napolitana in San Francisco years traveling for work at one of my logistics jobs. And I don't know, have you ever been to one of like Tony's establishments? Like he's
Yeah,
got like, okay, right. So
Tony's Pizzeria Napolitana in like the Italian part of San
okay,
Francisco,
yes. So
right?
you've been there. Yes, exactly. He also has a spot called Pizza Rock in Vegas. But the theme of these places is he's doing all different styles of pizza. So they've got different ovens, they've got, all kinds of different setups. And so I was always like a thin crust pizza person, New York style, Neapolitan style, like that kind of stuff. And the server was like, "Well, have you ever tried Detroit style pizza?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" And she was like, "It's really good. It's like a pan style pizza. I'm just telling you." And I'm like, "I don't like thick crust." And she's like, "Just try it. I guarantee you'll like it. If you're not, we'll get you something else." Like I was like, "All right, like that's strong praise." And like I took my first bite of this and I was like, how have I not been eating this my entire life?
Yeah, really.
It was like a game-changing pizza experience for me. And I ate myself sick. I remember like going back to the hotel room that night and being like having a severe stomach ache, but being like, I can't wait to eat that again.
Yeah, that's always the best kind of food experience, when you've eaten to the point of discomfort and pain, but your mind is still telling you that was worth it.
Yeah, like if I had more, I probably would have kept eating more. And honestly, the first like 10 times I ate Detroit style pizza, that was my experience because it was always while I was traveling. So it was like, oh, I'd be going to a spot for work and I'd look up and be like, is anyone making Detroit style pizza there? And if they were, I was eating it and I was eating too much of it.
So
So
had you made pizza before, or were
I
you
had
basically prompted to make it because there wasn't a good Detroit style pizza version in Los Angeles?
Yes, that is exactly what happened. I was like, I had been talking to a lot of my friends about it. They had never had it. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired of only having access to this when I'm somewhere else. I'm a halfway decent cook. I bet, I can find a recipe on the internet and kind of figure this out. And it'll be at least like an approximation, right? And so that was where I was at. And, that was like in February. And I was like, I should just like buy a bunch of stuff and I'll have friends over and we'll do like a pizza party thing. And I was like, I got to get the right cheese. So like you could only buy like brick cheese in like a 6 pound loaf. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm making a lot of Detroit style pizza, but I'll have friends over. And then yeah,
Did you have
so
to order the brick cheese online?
oh yeah, that was I think the first time I ordered it off of Amazon if I'm not mistaken. Um and yeah, you had to get it drop shipped. I mean, and to be honest, that's how not to get ahead of ourselves, but that's how GoDaddy had to be for quite a while. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
so when
your
coronavirus hit, it
friends.
not only took my job, it also took my idea of having a pizza party with my friends away.
Oh, so you never even had the pizza party?
Never even had the pizza party.
I
It
was
was
gonna ask, how did the friends react to Detroit style, but they didn't even get a chance to.
I didn't get a chance to. Yeah, no. So I then was like stuck with this cheese and pans and all this other stuff, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have to like make some pizza at
Yeah.
some point in time. And I swear to you that the the first day I made it, while the dough was rising in the middle of the day, was when I got a call from my boss. And as soon as my phone rang and it was my boss, I was like, there's no work going on. So this is only about one thing.
Oh no.
And that was literally the phone call being like, I'm sorry, but we've got to let you go. And that was it. While the dough was rising.
I was gonna say, did you have an epiphany in that moment? Like your eyes caught the dough rising, and you were like, "This is my destiny now."
It wasn't quite that theatrical. But I was like, all right, well, I guess I could at least I got something to keep me busy for the rest of the afternoon and evening. I'll make myself some cocktails. I'll eat this pizza, and I'll just kind of feel sorry for myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I made it and had a couple of drinks, and maybe it was the drinks, who knows? But I was like, hey, this is pretty good. You
How did
know,
you find the? Did you find a recipe, or like how did you know how to make it?
Yeah, I just found a recipe on the internet. It was a Serious Eats recipe, and I was like, you know what? Serious Eats usually does me pretty well, so I was like, let's just pop this off right here,
Mm-hmm.
the way that it was, and yeah, it was really good, and I was like, well, I still have a lot of friends with jobs at this point in time, and they like cocktails, and like restaurants are closed, and no one else is making this pizza. So like, hey, maybe some of my friends will like pity buy some of this pizza from me, which is
you,
literally what I posted on my Instagram.
pity is an underrated emotion to capitalize on, you know?
Mhm. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like it's highly effective. Pulls at people's heartstrings.
Not the first business to be started on pity, I'll tell you that.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So you
Um,
posted and we're like, "Hey, I made some pizza. Feel bad for me and buy it."
yeah, basically, do any of my friends with jobs want to pity buy some of this off of me? And I said, and that's when I said, because Daddy needs to make some dough. So I made a dumb dad joke, and that's how I got the Dough Daddy name.
That's good. And so people bought the pizza
Yep.
and the reviews were good.
The reviews were good. It was very organic. Uh, the modern day version of word of mouth, which is Instagram, and they would get the pizza and they post it on their story or whatever, and then their friends were like, "Oh, I want to try it," and so it just like for like I think it was only like about 2 weeks of that or so, definitely not much longer, and then all of a sudden I got a message from Farley at Eater LA, like a direct message, and he was like, "Hey, I've heard about this pizza. I want to try it." And I was just like,
You're
"What?"
joking.
No.
It's like so 2 weeks of word of mouth from friends, and then Bill Farley gets you in your DMs.
It was just the right amount of um the right people that had happened. So it was like a friend of a friend knew him,
Uh-huh.
and when that friend posted it, he saw it, and then that's like how it happened.
So kind of kismet, just in that like these people happen to be connected, saw the Instagram post,
Yes, yes.
got it. And so because that's a pretty rapid rise to fame there. Businesses operate for years before they catch the attention of critics. You were operational for like 2 weeks selling things on Venmo, and you get a DM from Farley.
Yeah, and I was scared shitless.
Because now you're like I've been making this for my college roommate, but now I have to go and make this for a food critic.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't belong in this world conversation, and it was like if that happened, and then like either the same day or the day after, like I got a message from Jaleel White, like aka Steve Urkel, that was like, I've
What?
heard about this pizza and I want it.
Not a food critic, but still an interesting DM.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was so freaked out and overwhelmed.
You,
And like I was like,
you got
I
to be
didn't
honest with
even
me. You got to
yeah.
be honest with me. When you got the DM and you delivered his pizza, did you say to yourself, "Did I do that?"
Oh man, there were so many jokes being made. But the thing is, like, I didn't even like I like people when I tell people this story too, they're just like, "What were you doing?" But like with both of these messages, I was like, "I'm not really sure if I want to engage in this." Like I replied to them,
Yeah.
but I wasn't sure if I actually wanted to like have Farley write something, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to even have like I think even the deal that I maybe made with Jaleel was that he wouldn't post about it right away or something.
That is
Like I
kind of badass, bro. Honestly, for you to get those DMs and be like, "I want this to stay on the DL." Can you
well,
like don't post? That's like
yeah.
some like Yeezy level marketing shit, you
No,
know?
man. Well, it's funny because like don't give me credit for it. All it was coming from was a place of extreme fear. That's all it was. Like it wasn't like, oh man, I want to keep this cool. It was like I don't know what I'm doing and
Yeah.
I don't think I can handle this.
You were afraid of
And
blowing up, basically.
absolutely, I was
Yeah.
terrified of blowing up. I was terrified of like getting found out. Like I had imposter syndrome doing this for like, I'm not kidding you, maybe a year and a half of doing
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
stuff. Like I was like, I do not belong in these conversations. I do not belong in this world. I am just a guy who lost his job and started making pizza. And I'm gonna get found out, and it's gonna be this thing where there's gonna be all this hype around me, and then people are gonna be like, "This pizza sucks,"
Have you
and I
seen
really
this?
believed that for a long time.
Have you seen the movie I'm Not Okay on
I
Hulu?
have I have not seen it.
It's
Is it
it's
good?
about this. It's very good. It's about this social media person that wants to be famous so bad that she fakes being at the Paris terrorist attack.
Oh,
And
I've heard about this.
yeah, she like posts and basically, gains fame and notoriety because everybody thinks that she survived this Paris terrorist
Oh
attack.
my God.
And the whole movie is about her like getting found out, basically.
Oh,
Um, I'm
what a
just
feeling.
picturing you having the same exact experience, but related to Detroit style pizza.
Yeah, I was so scared, and even when people would tell me it was good, I did not believe them that they were telling the truth. Even people who were like strangers, where there'd be like no reason to lie, I was
Yeah.
just like, I would find a way to discount it. I
Yeah.
would be like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just caught up in the hype. It's like that's all this is, and
Well,
it
wait. So
really took
wait.
a long time.
So Farley ate your pizza. Did he write about it
He did, yes,
right
yes.
away? So you've been operational for like what, a month, and he's writing about your pizza.
Yeah.
So what's that like? How was the article?
Uh,
What was the reception?
the article was incredible. Like it was so like I was just like I can't believe that this is being written. But again, I still couldn't find a way to believe it. Um, and within I don't know a day, I had like I don't know 2,000 followers on Instagram or something like that. Like it was
Wow.
like really fast.
Had you created the GoDaddy account at this point?
I did create the GoDaddy account before he wrote about it because it was like a week or two. It was like right before I think that I talked to him. I created the account because I was like, there was also this whole element of fear of being like, oh, well, I'm operating an underground place out of my apartment in
Yeah.
downtown Los Angeles, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
get caught. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna get shut down. Like I
Yeah.
I was just like, and that was another reason why I was like unsure if I wanted it to be written about because I was like, what if I wouldn't even I don't even know if I let him use my first name. I can't remember, but I was like, don't use my full name, and I was just like terrified. It was just
Yeah.
pure paralysis of fear.
And so you got
Um,
2,000 followers or something like that off the article. Did inquiries go through the roof as well?
Oh my God, yeah, it was like out of control super fast. And of course, at this point in time, I was so new to this, and I was also working, out of an apartment kitchen in downtown LA that I hadn't really changed at all. Like I was using every like surface in my apartment to like set pizzas on, and I mean I was so inefficient. Like making six in a night was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. This is like
And is
that's
that all
how
that was available? 6 pizzas a night?
yeah, I think when that article went up, that was all I was making at that
Bro,
point in
I'm
time
having
was six.
stress dreams just thinking about
Oh
this.
my God, I didn't sleep. I wasn't sleeping for months.
That's nuts. So you mean 6 pizzas a night? You were probably selling out every night, though.
Oh yeah. I mean, there wasn't even. It was like it was a joke. It was like I would. I mean, first of all, I was breaking. I was using like a site called Slotted, I think, and it was just
Yeah.
breaking Slotted every time that I would actually post anything up. And I wasn't even telling people when I would post because I knew that if I told them when I would post, that they would like just all jump on it at once and it would break
Yeah.
the site. So I would just randomly release slots at random points in time throughout the week. Like it was full like lottery mode. And then of course, you get so many messages from people being like, hey man, I'll give you, some crazy amount of money for a pizza. hey man, like just do me this favor, or like, you know, people who are like higher profile people, like just trying to cut the line, like all that stuff. So you're just fielding so many DMs like all the time.
Please say you sold out to those people.
I sold out to what people?
To the people that were offering you a bunch of money.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you have too much integrity, my friend. I would have sold those pizzas so fast.
Trust me, it was super tempting because you know there were people that were offering $200 or $300 for pizza, and
Oh my
you
God, I
know,
would have been like, yeah, how many do you want? I'm all
yeah,
yours.
right. But I was like, my thought was like twofold with it. Number one, my biggest thing I think was I was just like, dude, I don't want to be like pizza for the wealthy. Like I don't want to do that. Like, and I'm like, I also just felt like the whole situation that I was in as like a recently unemployed person, kind of due to like, I mean, like my company could have afforded to keep me on. Like it was,
Yeah.
kind of
No,
like due
there's
to corporate
corporate
greed.
greed. Yeah.
And I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to feel shitty about it. Like, I even asked my friend when the first one happened, he was like, well, here's the thing, man. If you say once yes, you'll probably say yes again, and then it'll kind of become a practice. Like, this won't just be like a one off thing. And I was like, you're right. And I was like, and I just don't think that's going to make me happy ultimately. And then the other part of it too was I was like, if I do that, all these other people who are like true enthusiasts that might want to buy it multiple times are just going to give up,
Yeah.
like they're going to see people getting pizza, and then they're going to wonder, especially if they're like higher profile people, they're going to be like, oh, did this person cut the line, like blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. And I was just like, I don't think this is me, and I don't think this will ultimately work to my advantage. So
Dude,
no,
I
I just
respect that, man.
told them
I
no.
I respect that. I think there's nothing more off-putting than when you see somebody maybe start to bask in their success and fame a little bit too much, and you're like, it doesn't feel like something that's accessible to you anymore, as a
Right.
consumer. So I feel like
Right.
you probably made the right move, especially at that point in your journey.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, I think I did too in retrospect, but certainly at the time I was much more unsure, and I was like, am I being an idiot? Like should I just take as much money as I can take cuz I'm unemployed, who knows how long this is going to last, but I think honestly in the long run, financially the business definitely did better than it would have done. So
Yeah, yeah, man. Well, so how long did that whole phase last? Basically, selling six pizzas a night on slotted out of your downtown apartment. At what point were you like, I'm gonna take this to the next level?
well, I had a lot of there was this part of me that was like, I gotta start doing this immediately.
Mm-hmm.
There's this concept that I know from like relationships, it's just called like a relationship escalator. And for anyone who's like not familiar with that, it's kind of the idea of like relationships are going to go a certain way and they're progressing, and you're either on the escalator or you're off the escalator, but like you can't determine what happens. So it's like, you meet someone, you start dating them, then you get exclusive, then you move in together, that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's like, you're not making choices. You're like almost following like a script in some ways or whatever. And so I was like, I gotta jump on the business restaurant escalator. Like that's what my
Mm-hmm.
thought was. I was like, well, I got this attention now, and I need to capitalize on this attention. And so I need to start working to get investors. And then I need to find a space, and and I was
Yeah.
ready to do all that. And I'd only been doing this for like a month, and I didn't even know whether I was really going to like it in the long term.
Yeah.
And I also had a lot of reservations about running an actual restaurant because I think I think the whole world has become a lot more aware since coronavirus of what a tough business it is. But
Yeah.
I knew from having friends that worked in it, and I had opportunities to work in it, and I always didn't do it because I didn't feel like it was a lifestyle that I wanted. And so I am so thankful for Win, who he was part of the couple running Starry Kitchen. I think they're still doing some stuff there,
Mm-hmm.
and through a friend, we were able to get in touch, and he gave me this incredible kind of advice to just be like, hey, just like chill. And he had experience with this too, because, Starry Kitchen started out as an underground restaurant out of their
Yeah.
apartment. And, it was so great to talk to someone. I'm so grateful for the time that he gave me and the words of wisdom and support that he gave me. And that really kind of made me slow down. And I'm so grateful, because I think if I had gone that path of I'm going to, find a brick and mortar and do all that, and despite all the noise that I was hearing from people that like, that's what they wanted me to do,
Yeah.
um, I think I really would have been miserable, because ultimately, like, the only way I enjoyed doing this was doing it in a certain way, and that did
Yeah.
not involve having a restaurant and keeping different all crazy hours and having a ton of employees and everything else. I think I would have burnt out so fast that way. So
Not to mention, like, opening a brick and mortar in April of 2020
hmm
is probably the most deranged like path you could have ever pursued, you know?
yeah, I mean, I I felt so bad for so many of these restaurants owners that went through, the ups and downs of it all, and the like, well, you could do this, no, now you can't do that anymore, or reopen everything, close everything. I mean, what an absolute nightmare,
Yeah.
for all those folks. So I was super grateful that I got that advice.
So you decided to not go down the brick and mortar route. So what route did you go down?
Well, I had a couple friends who uh loved food and were good. They had made some food for me before that I was great. Chris and Cindy, and they were both. Cindy was working as a teacher, a substitute teacher, so she was out of work, and then Chris's job had changed quite dramatically as well, and so I think Cindy came and worked with me first, and then Chris soon thereafter, and so they started coming and making pizzas with me out of my apartment. Before they started working, I had like moved my way up. I kind of kept ramping up each week in the amount that I had made, but then obviously having a second person there, and then all of us getting faster together, we were able to increase production a ton.
Hmm.
And so that's how we operated. We operated the three of us out of a downtown apartment for, I guess I was in that apartment for about a year.
Yeah. And so did you like transform the apartment into a DoDaddy operation site?
A little bit for sure, but I had to keep my sanity somewhat. So like I bought like these collapsible crates from Costco and had them kind of stack. I mean, the thing was too, I was in an open floor plan, like old loft style
Yeah.
apartment. So it was like it wasn't like even I could just like put everything in like one room or a closet or whatever. So there were kind of crates stacked up in some spots. I had pizza boxes on top of this like loft storage area above the bathroom, just like, hundreds of them stacked up there. And then uh, had some folding tables that we would bring out for additional counter space. And then luckily, Chris and Cindy lived in a house, and so they had a garage and everything, and they had an extra fridge in their garage, because
Hmm.
that was the other difficult thing, was being able to store enough of the ingredients in my fridge to be able to make this all happen when I was relying on a very unreliable transportation and shipping network through
Yeah.
COVID, and I was having, cheese drop shipped to me. Oh my God, what a nightmare that was.
Oh my God.
Um, yeah, because it was like, will it make it? Will it not? Will it make it in time and not be spoiled? I mean, not to mention that the cost of it and everything else was just like insane. So,
Yeah.
luckily again, I would buy a ton at one time, and then they would take a bunch back to their place, and then they would bring it back like day by day so that we could make it work with the fridge space that we had.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm looking at my fridge right now and just like shuddering, thinking
Yeah.
about fitting all of those bricks of Wisconsin cheese in there.
Yep,
Uh,
and giant things of pepperoni and and places.
Sauce,
I mean,
tubs of
yeah,
sauce.
just
Yeah.
tubs of sauce.
Oh God, where am I gonna fit my LaCroix?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had almost no food of my own in my fridge.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just impossible.
So you did that. You were, we're now 2021. You, Chris, and Cindy working out of the downtown apartment, but then at some point you switched over to West Adams, right?
Yes, man, downtown was rough during the pandemic,
I mean,
you know?
especially that summer, the summer of 2020 was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Um and honestly, it was just all the reasons why I'd moved to downtown didn't really exist.
Yeah.
It was like the bars are closed, the restaurants are closed, like, and just walking around down there was just such a different experience and it was so much more stressful. And, we really didn't know as much, about coronavirus as we know now. And here's the thing, like my parking space from my apartment was 4 blocks away.
That's
Like,
a nightmare, especially if you're trying to run a business where you need to transport things.
absolutely. I mean, I would go on my like shopping days, and of course, I'm having to go to like 7 or 8 different stores just to gather up the ingredients that I need for the next 2 or 3 days. Because it's either I have limits on how much I can buy, or they just don't have enough stock of things that I'm
Yeah.
buying.
Well, especially
And then
during COVID.
absolutely, and then I've got a car full of all this stuff that I've then got to I bought one of those like wagons on the Amazon that I then got to wheel down the street. And then of course, like through
Yeah.
a lot of this, we were told to wipe down our groceries and
Oh
everything.
my
So
God.
I mean, it was, I can't even imagine doing that now. But all of that is to say, like, even just for myself, even if it wasn't for the business, I just needed like a change. And I was like, you know what? I really, really badly want to have an outdoor space that I
Yeah.
can maybe have some friends over to, a little backyard or something. And I would love to just like have some more division of rooms so that I can keep all stuff somewhere else. And I just need like quiet, man. Like I just want to be in a quiet place. And so I
Yeah.
started looking and came upon the place that I'm in now, and was like, oh man, this is going to be a game changer for me personally and for GoDaddy too, in terms of space and being able to segregate it from the rest of my life. So yeah, that's when I made the move, and it definitely made a big difference to quality of life and ease of running the business.
Yeah.
We were able to produce more here than we were there, and oh my god, the pickup process. I mean, that was the other thing about downtown. I mean,
I remember.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you
It was
remember
like
it was.
having to go to that parking lot where you had to pay to be there, but you just had to tell them, "Hey, I'm actually just popping in real
Yes,
quick to pick something up."
yes,
And then sort of like keeping your lights on, hoping nobody harasses you, and then
yeah,
yeah, it
and
was.
and also, if that parking lot was open and if all the parking on my street wasn't closed because they were filming, because once they
Oh
started
yeah, yeah,
filming
yeah.
again, I mean, it was out of control. And of course too, like, I mean, I think people thought we were probably being jerks or whatever, but we were like, hey, you got to arrive in this 10-minute window, and we have a 10-minute window every half hour. We run the pizzas down from the 11th floor. We pull this wagon around, we bring them to your car, and if you don't make it in that 10 minutes, I'm sorry, you got to wait a half hour, because guess what? We got another round of pizzas coming out of the oven, and
You
we
know
got to do
what
the
though?
same thing.
There was such a culture of that like pop-up food
Yeah,
movement happening that I feel like people were really respectful of that, and
they were.
respectful of the fact that it was logistical hell for you all as business owners.
Oh,
So
for
like,
sure.
and not to mention there was such scarcity of available like joy at the time that
Yes.
we all did whatever it took, to
Yes.
experience that
Yes.
little bit of joy.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I did my own versions of crazy things from picking up from other people in various locations and houses and stuff like that during all of it. And it was kind of, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It was, and at a time where a lot of people didn't have a lot to do, it was also something to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, chasing down the food pop-ups and going, driving across town to pick something up, that like
Right.
killed half a day sometimes, which was invaluable.
Yeah, you needed it. You needed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So now you're in West Adams, you're able to produce more. How has the business changed? How has it stayed the same?
Well, so when I moved here, it was right before vaccines started rolling out, or like right as they were rolling out, and
Yeah.
obviously that changed things a tremendous amount.
Right.
You know, and so luckily my pickup, my ease of pickup had gotten a little had gotten a little better, and then you know, because we were able to produce more, that also made the pizza a little bit easier to attain. Because I mean, downtown, in that world, I mean, we were usually selling out for the week, like for almost a year. I think we were selling out for the week in like usually, a couple hours,
Yeah.
at the longest. So that was making things a little bit easier, but also people's habits were changing too, right? People were really, I mean, I know I was, people were jonesing to go out to eat again, to go to a
Yeah.
restaurant. And so that had an effect too, but we still did quite well for a little while, and then things started trailing off a little bit, and and it was around that time too where I just, on a personal level, I think the whole year caught up with me. I think I
Yeah.
was just going and going and going and going, and kind
Adrenaline
of,
was probably
yeah,
fueling you, right?
absolutely. Yeah, and I just don't think I was just dealing with a lot of things that had happened in my life in that period of time, and just you're so laser focused on the business and keeping it going and everything else that I just burn out. I really had some major problems with anxiety and burnout, and luckily Chris and Cindy were around because they kind of just kept things moving and kept the ship afloat, while I took some time off and kind of started to reevaluate and everything, because yeah, I couldn't keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like a real kind of difficult point of the business and in my life and everything, because it was, yeah, I mean, even me trying to quote unquote do it, in my own way and keep some kind of work life balance. I mean, in reality, I wasn't really doing that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a really, really tough time,
Dude, good for
with the
you for
business.
good for you for talking about it and for being open and honest about it, not just here, obviously, but I mean like with yourself, because I feel like that was such a difficult thing to navigate during the pandemic. And not just during the pandemic, but right after, is like
Hmm.
learning how to take stock of what we'd all been through, and how had affected and changed our daily lives, and I feel like it took a lot of us some time to catch up with that, so
For
um
sure.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's really cool that you were able to recognize that and be able to apply that to your running of the business.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I think the busier you were and the more you had to do while all that was going on, while it was nice at the time, because I think, I had friends even that were still employed, but just the business was essentially shut down,
Yeah.
and that, they were kind of going into depression and all that stuff during, COVID. Whereas me, I like had a purpose,
Yeah.
which was like a real gift. But then, the flip side of that is when that purpose is driving everything for you, and you don't really stop and rest or take real stock or anything, then you kind of have it all catch up to you. And to your point, I think that happened with a lot of people as like a delayed reaction to the whole thing. So yeah, yeah, that was a tough time, and it lasted for a while too. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like, oh, I took a month off and then it was fine. I mean, I remember being like, oh, I'll take a week off, and then like 5 days went by, and I go, this is not enough time. I'll take another week off, and then it was still not enough time. And at a certain point, you got to get back to some level of work, because you got to pay your
Yeah.
rent, you got to do all these things. But yeah, it was tough. It was a glimpse into kind of what I had wanted to avoid, and then found myself in.
Yeah. So how did you like come back from that, and how are you navigating that now? Because I mean, look, I feel like there was such an emphasis on work-life balance and mental health for such a long time during the pandemic and just after. But it seems like now there's a pendulum swing to almost trying to go back to business as usual.
Big
Um,
time.
and, and almost like, being like, oh, that was cute when we all were able to take
Uh-huh.
stock of that, but now we're real life. How do you like maintain that and still run your business today?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess, to answer the first part of your question, kind of working my way out of that, obviously, having Chris and Cindy to be able to take some of the load off of me was invaluable. Um, it also helped too that I had, started working with the developer and got like a website running. And those were like some of the kind of exterior factors that helped with
Mm-hmm.
the overall load of the business. But I took some trips by myself to be in nature. I did a lot of therapy. I had already been in therapy, but I was in individual therapy and group therapy through all of that, and was doing extra sessions and everything else, and trying to learn um, some different practices that could help me
Mm-hmm.
manage my anxiety too, with either starting the day off with some quiet attempts at meditation. I always say I'm bad at meditation, and they're like, you're not supposed to say you're bad at meditation, but
Oh, dude,
um
I'm dog shit at meditation. Yeah.
it's so hard for me to keep my brain from going everywhere. But and then trying to get a little healthier with exercise and things like that. I mean, a lot of the typical things that they say that you should do.
Yeah.
And and my dad even came up here and stayed with me for a while and gave me some extra support, which was really invaluable. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of that to kind of start getting my way back. And also just I had to let go of some stuff to do it too, which was like I had to let go of like because what for me what it felt like when that stuff was happening, and then also the business was trailing off a bit, and by that I meant, oh my God, we're no longer selling out like real fast,
Yeah.
or oh man, here's a day or two during the week where we're not even actually selling out, that kind of stuff. And that felt, I mean, even though that's so normal for a business, that felt like the end of the world for me because
Yeah.
I had
I get
just
that.
for so long it was just like, oh, we're sold out in 30 minutes. Okay, I know the whole week's taken care of now. I don't even have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And so it really felt like, and then it was just, I was so personally tied to the business. Like it was so much of me, which is what a lot of people told me made it great.
Yeah.
But also for me, when it started not quote unquote going as well, it felt like, oh, this is a reflection on me in some way,
Yeah. I mean, you are the dough daddy, you know?
right, right. So it felt like this, like, oh, now like I'm a failure. I'm failing. Like people don't care about what I do anymore. Like,
I get that. Yeah.
that's what was happening in my head. And that made it really difficult. And so I had to really work hard to try and start separating me from GoDaddy. They had become
Mm-hmm.
so intertwined. And I also had to do a lot of work with what I viewed as what success meant to me, and really having a lot of feelings about how much money I make, and what's acceptable for me to make, what is good, and I really had to let go of a lot of that stuff and really had to think about like, okay, what do I actually need to survive? What do
Mm-hmm.
I actually, because there were a lot of things that I could have probably done with GoDaddy to keep it at the level it was at for longer, but they weren't things that I actually wanted to do. They weren't things I was interested in doing. And so I would have purely been doing, something to make money, which a lot of people have to do. And I I was like, can I figure out some way to this was like an experiment of, can I do this in a way that I really love doing it and still make a good living? And I could for a really long time.
Hmm.
But the world was different during that time, and people's expectations were during that time. And, what I've come to realize over the last year or so is that, like, it doesn't work in the same way that it did back then, And so, and I had to kind of come to grips with that. And I had to then start to think about, well, what is it that I want to do with this? I don't want it to die completely. What is it that I want to do with this? And that's kind of been the stage that I've been in for a little bit here now.
And so where's DoDaddy today?
So GoDaddy today is still doing like a few nights a week, and it's just me now. Chris and Cindy have gone back to their normal jobs, um, and then one thing that has started in the last, I don't know, I guess it's maybe been close to a year or so, is I've had some regular customers and stuff who have been like, "Hey, would you come make pizza at our house?
Hmm.
We're having a group of friends over." And I I absolutely loved that. I mean, all the experiences that I've gotten to do where I've gotten to, be with a group of people that are enjoying the food, and they're all wonderful people too, which is of course what makes it so nice. That I really, really like doing. It's a lot of fun, and um, I definitely want to keep doing things like that and offering that to folks. It's kind of like have oven, will travel.
Yeah.
Like that really, because a lot of people are like, oh, we need a pizza oven, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. I'm like, literally, I've been doing this. I mean, my oven in downtown LA was like one of the worst ovens I've ever had, but the
Yeah.
magic of Detroit style pizza pans is it almost doesn't matter. So,
It does the work for you, right?
yeah, it really does. So, I really like doing that, and I want to keep doing that. I have the days with GoDaddy, and that might continue to happen a little bit, where it becomes a little bit more of an occasional pop up.
Yeah.
And I've kind of started to focus myself, job wise, more towards using the skills that I acquired both in my career before and in building and running GoDaddy to help like small and medium sized businesses as a consultant. And I really like doing that because, what I discovered with GoDaddy is I really love solving problems. I really love figuring out the most efficient way to do things. And then I can get bored quite easily,
Yeah.
So when I'm just here making pizza on a given day, I can be a little bit bored, because I feel like I've gotten it down so much now where there's really not a lot left for me to change or improve or figure out. And then my
Yeah.
brain just kind of shuts off. And so it really kind of taught me like what I would like to do. And that's where I'm focusing some more of my energy now, because I really would love to keep working for myself. I mean, the difference in my quality of life and just how I feel about work is so much better.
Yeah.
But, but, we'll see,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing though at this point in time.
I mean, what you described is essentially flow state, which is, when flow state is, have you heard of flow state?
Yes. Yes.
It's like kind of like when you're really in the flow doing something that uh, is fulfilling you. And part of
Hmm.
flow state is having something that challenges you a little bit.
Right.
Um, and that to me is what you're describing with needing to solve a problem.
Yep.
And it feels like you've solved the associated with Detroit style pizza for you and DoDaddy, and right now you're looking for something a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what will happen for me too is that GoDaddy will become a little bit more of a novelty to me, and it'll be nice actually on the days where I do it, where it'll feel like a little bit of a break from the other thing, and it'll
Yeah.
kind of be nice to to work with my hands a bit more, and be physical in work and create something that I know is, someone's going to eat and enjoy and things like that. So I think the two things can kind of balance each other a little bit. And so I think that's where I'm at with it currently.
Dude, I love this. You described the concept of relationship roller coaster or relationship inertia,
Yeah.
or no, you relationship
Escalator.
you called it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Although many relationships also feel like roller coasters.
Roller coasters. Yeah, exactly.
But it's pretty cool that this business escalator, this business inertia that you're describing, kind of shows that there's no one path.
Right.
There's a million different paths, there's a million different journeys, and each one is 100% valid in its own way. And it's really cool to see your journey and where you're at, where you've been, and I cannot wait to see where it's going. But if people are looking for DoeDaddy in the meantime, where do they find you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram, DoeDaddy LA, or if you just Google DoeDaddy, our website will pop up. I think is the first result. So yeah, still doing a few days a week, usually Fridays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and then either Saturday or Sunday. And also, yeah, I mean, again, the thing that I love the most, and I think is like the best experience for people too, is, if you're having a group of people over to your house and, you've got an oven, you can come over there and make it fresh for you. And, straight out of the oven, there's no better experience. And, it's just, it's a fun time. So definitely, if people are interested in that, hit me up.
I just had my birthday like 2 weeks ago. I wish you had told me about this before, because
that would have been fun, man.
That sounds like heaven. We'll just have to do it another time.
Absolutely.
Kyle, thanks so much for joining, man. I really appreciate it. And, congratulations on all your success. And, we'll always be rooting for you here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. And it's funny, before we got on here, we started this talking about the idea that, we feel like we've known each other for such a long time, but have never actually spoken live, which is like a true sign of you were in a pandemic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I thank you so much for all your support and encouragement. I mean, you've definitely been one of the people that, even when I was, feeling pretty low about things, have given me some perspective, and given me some idea of that, what I was doing still mattered to some people. And that was super invaluable to me. And I think what you've done for with your own account is awesome. I mean, just the idea of taking down all those pizzas in a year, and then you were like, what, now I'm doing tacos, what, now I'm doing sandwiches, and now you've kind of grown this into a whole thing. So I think it's great and really awesome with what you're doing. And it's always nice when the person behind it is just as great as the content they're making. So
dude,
thanks,
you're
man.
way too kind. Thank you for lying to all my listeners about me being a nice person.
No way.
But dude, honestly, people like you make it worth it. So thank you so much, man.
Thanks.
Well, we'll have to have you back on I was going to ask you like some Detroit related questions at the end, but you're not even from Detroit, so I'm not even going to do that.
Yeah, let's not embarrass myself any further.
Oh no, you gave a great account of yourself on this podcast. Well, thanks again, man, and we'll be in touch soon.
All right, thanks a lot.
And if you do want to change your name to DoeDaddy, you don't even have to credit me.
I will, though. I will. I'll definitely put your name in the bio.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks to Kyle Davidson for coming on and sharing his story. If you like what you heard, please go to our page on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave a review, give us a rating, preferably 5 stars. And if you want to find me at the LA Countdown, go to Instagram or TikTok at the LA Countdown. That's TheLaCountdown.